Hi, everybody. It is my huge pleasure to welcome you to our online English 111 class. I'm Jamie Edlin, your instructor. Um, an unflattering fluorescent light. You're free to call me Jamie since you're an adult, I'm an adult, we're in a class for adults, and I call this our class as much as it is, mine or yours. In this video, which is the first of many to come, I'm just here to talk to you guys about what to expect in the course and give you a few tips for success and to advise you on whether you have a strong chance of survival in the class, depending on the type of learner and writer you are. In later videos, I'll check up on you all, let you know what's coming up that week or a bit later in the class, and address any writing issues that I see a lot of people having, make any announcements that I have for you. You'll want to watch these videos every time. Sometimes they'll seem a little long or like a little bit outside of what you had expected to do that week, but you want to watch them or at least read their transcripts because there'll almost always be some super useful information for you there. I'll try to post a video once every couple of weeks, and when I'm not able to, I'll let you know, and still post any announcements that I have, just not in video form. Scrolling up here on my screen. Um, First off, in this video, I want to encourage you, if you haven't done so yet, to watch the video posted by Anthony Sams, who is my boss and knows what he's talking about. You'll find the video in a couple of places, but it's definitely on the announcements page. In the video, among other things, he encourages students who are not already at least decent writers to exit the course. Just drop it. The online version, that is. He doesn't say that exactly, but that's what he's getting at, and I'm with him. I want to stress the importance of setting yourself up for success in this class. It's a tough class. It's a lot of work, and it helps enormously to have some prior skills and knowledge in essay writing and in critical reading. If you don't have some knowledge base of English or something close to college level English, or if you haven't done well in English classes in the past, I will be really frank when I tell you that you will probably not do very well in this particular class that is an online English 111. I don't mean to say that you won't pass or that you will never do well in an English 111 course, but that if you aren't already okay at writing, online writing, online learning and writing is not the best platform for you when it comes to English. To help you determine if you should stay enrolled in the class, in this particular online 111 class, I've developed a short quiz for you to take, which I am posting below this announcement. So if you look just below this video, you'll find it there. The quiz is not for a grade. It's just a self-assessment, a litmus test to help you decide if the class is right for you. Please see, again, below this announcement to find that. I have a few words for you guys about the class in general that I think will help you with your progress in the course. As far as workload in the class goes, you can most often expect every week to be working on all of the following types of assignments. Every single week, expect to work on a class reading from the textbook, a post or replies to a post on a discussion board, work on a draft of an assignment or on providing commentary on someone else's draft that they've already submitted, and occasionally completing a quiz or test or something informational. Where you post your work is important, because if you don't post your work to the exact right place, I don't see it and therefore don't grade it. So my best advice with that, like to figure out what to do each week and where to post, is to read everything in each class session, making sure you understand exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Make a checklist for each session. And by the way, a session is a week, so session 1 is week 1 of the course. And, after you've made this checklist, work through each thing each week when possible. Also, just to let you know, even though you'll come across some materials that state that due dates are on Sundays, I actually have set it up so that the due dates are on Mondays. I just find that it's a more convenient due date than Sunday for several reasons, which I won't bore you with. Also, like most writing instructors, I'm a tough grader, so I've been told. And that's not because I don't care and I'm just trying to be cruel. No, I'm actually really nice and pretty helpful, also, so I've been told. But I don't mince words. If you don't do something well, I don't do you any favors by not telling you so. I'm going to tell you. And this is because if no one tells you what to do differently on your work, no matter what the work is, you won't improve on it. You can't because you don't know what to do differently next time. So you're going to just have to develop a little bit of a thick skin in this class in terms of accepting criticism. If you feel a little bit burned by criticism, feel the burn and just take a deep breath and take my and other students' advice when and where it seems appropriate. When you get some advice from me on your writing, even if it's hard to take, just try it out. It's the opinion of a professional, and you'll have nothing to lose in doing so. If you ever need or want more clarification on anything, you are very welcome and free to ask for it. You just gotta ask nicely. On the subject of giving writing advice to you all, part of my job is to give you a grade and comments on the work that you do, but I can't comment on every single assignment. There are way too many. I can't comment on every little thing that you're doing well or thing that needs improving. Again, it's mostly just because it's way too much work to comment on, and I have a lot of students outside of this class. If I commented on every little thing, I'd just never eat or sleep or hang out with my husband or my family or see my dogs. And I love doing all of those things. But also, there's no real need, actually, to comment on every assignment. Especially ones that you're not required to revise, that is, to improve on for the class. And it'd probably be overwhelming and unhelpful anyway, even if I did. You can't expect me to comment on the first few types of assignments that you do, so the first discussion boards and peer reviews, just to let you know if you're going in the right direction in the way that you're doing those. From then on, I'll simply award points for those things, and the points should just reflect whether or not you have done those assignments as you've been asked to do them. Like, have you met the word count? Were you thorough? Did you do what was asked of you? Quizzes and tests are graded automatically by Blackboard. I have no hand in those, so if you ever have an issue with those, you'll want to contact the Online Technologies Coordinator, Cliff White. He's in your syllabus, like towards the beginning. Should be first page. Let's see what else. Where you will see the most extensive commentary from me is on rough drafts for your writing projects, which are your major papers. You'll have 4 of those, 4 writing projects, 4 rough drafts for those, and then 4 final drafts for them. I wait for your fellow students in the class to give you their advice on the rough drafts, and then I give you mine. You'll be expected to make major improvements to these rough drafts based on all these comments. And then you'll create the rough draft based on those, or the final draft rather, based on those comments. I don't comment much on final drafts unless you ask me to. Usually I find there's no point because you're not going to do anything else to it. But you can always ask in the comments section of your final draft. Could I just have a word or two on this to know why I did how I did? For assignments, in the green resources tab to the left, whichever way left is for you. In the green resources tab on the left of the class Blackboard page, you will find sample assignments for each writing project. You want to study those carefully. They're all done really well. They got great grades in the class, I can only assume. They are from real students, those samples, and they'll really help you out in knowing what these writing projects are supposed to look like. Okay, let's see. For the record, I base the grades that I give you all for your writing projects on the rubrics, that is the grading guides that are within the writing project assignments. So if you really want to try to assess how you'll do on any given assignment, I definitely recommend checking out the rubrics in those assignments. You should see your grades appear just as soon as I'm done grading them. If you don't see a grade but you see 2 dashes above the overall point value, so if an assignment's worth 100 points and you see a dash over it, it just means I haven't gotten to it yet. Try to be patient sometimes it takes me a while to grade things. You can usually expect like a 1 week turnaround on smaller assignments, and you can expect to hear back from me within 2 weeks on higher stakes assignments like writing projects. If you are really anxious to know how you did on something, or you want more feedback on it than what you got, you are always free to email me and ask. And with email, you can expect to hear back from me somewhere like in the 1 to 3 day range. Often sooner. If it's 3 days, I didn't get your email or I didn't see it. So definitely reach back out to me. Make sure you have my email address correct. And please be patient with me there too. I try hard, actually, not to exceed an 8 hour workday. It's a quality of life thing. It's hard to stick to, but I try. Okay, another thing for the record. I didn't create any of this course, actually. Only the grades, comments, late work policy, which is coming up sometime this week as an announcement, due dates, and announcements come from me. That's it. So the assignments, readings, textbook, rubrics, quizzes, none of those did I create or assign to you. So don't shoot the messenger, and know that I can't actually change anything within the course. If anything is unclear or unhelpful to you, though, you can let me know, and I'll be able or should be able to clarify something for you, whatever it is that you don't understand. Okay. Next to lastly, we're almost done. This will probably be the longest video I ever make for you, hopefully. Have a lot of information to get through. Next to lastly, I want to send out a strong and firm warning about plagiarism. Every semester, I have to fail work for plagiarism. And you guys should know that I take it very seriously. It's not something I enjoy doing, but have to. People who choose to copy and paste their work, or just who fail to cite their sources, tend to fail their English classes, and that's as it should be, because that's something you really have to learn to be careful about. If you're plagiarizing by accident because you don't know how to cite your sources, I'll give you a 0 for the assignment, but then I'll work with you on getting some credit back and making sure you don't plagiarize, whether accidentally or otherwise, in the future. If you straight up copy and paste someone else's work, though, whether it's from the internet or not, or someone wrote the assignment for you, you will receive no credit, and you will not have the opportunity to recuperate any points for it. I reserve the right to give no credit for even a tiny bit of plagiarism in any draft, but I'll make sure that you guys understand like what plagiarism is sometime really soon. I think I'm planning next week. I'm looking at my notes. Next week is the planned time for an announcement on plagiarism, which by definition is just the lack of citation. You didn't show or say where your sources came from. Okay, so that's done. We'll say more about that later. It's not a super pleasant subject, but yeah, we'll get back to it later. Lastly, a few bits of general advice, general discussion for the course. This class asks a lot of you, but I think that the most successful students are those who just put their heads down and push through it. When it comes to doing the work, it's really best to set up a schedule each week. Like when you guys do the test run assignment and you tell me how often you plan to do the work, like when and what times, stick to that. Choose which days you know you're going to have some time to work for a little while, and keep those appointments with yourself like they're hot dates. Seriously. Trying your best never to break them. And time and effort go a really long way in this class. You should know that I'm here to help you, and that I'm personally interested in your doing well. I really am. If you have questions, you cannot be afraid to ask them. If you want to know how you could have done better on something, or I haven't explained something well enough for you, you have to be willing to step up and ask for my help. Writing is this really private act where so much of the struggle with it happens under the surface. So if you struggle with it, you have to go public, and there's no shame at all in doing so. And you should know that it's also not up to me. Like, if you're struggling, it's not up to me to guess that you're struggling, right? And it's also not up to me, like, whether you do your work or even whether you do well on it. I give my best advice. I do what I can here. But I'm mostly here as your guide and as an evaluator of your work. So much of what you do depends on what you're willing to put in and how carefully you take my comments into consideration. Essentially, you can't blame me for the work that you don't do, and I can't tell you how to improve if you don't show me your work. So, doing the work and asking for my advice is really key. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to cover here in this first video, first week. I know it's a lot, but it's all really important stuff. If you have followed me up to this point, thank you. I appreciate your sticking it out. I really do love what I do. I love teaching online, in person. I love writing. I love reading student writing and working with writing students, whether they're good at writing or not. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. I enjoy like dissecting the rough paper as much as I like dissecting and reading the really successful one. So I'm hugely looking forward to the semester, to meeting you guys virtually, and to seeing what ideas you come up with, and then helping you figure out how to turn those ideas into the best versions of themselves. Until we meet again soon, next week, best of luck with this week's work. Tired. Make sure that you submit those first few assignments by the due date, which is January 23rd, next Monday, so that you're not dropped from the class. If you don't do those first assignments, you'll be dropped. So do them. Make sure to do them. And I'll see you guys next week. Best of luck.